Good morning from the beautiful town of Noto in Sicily. It is a Baroque masterpiece and the last stop on our Sicilian adventure. We are staying in the most beautiful place. It is, I think, the most special of all of the places that we've stayed on our trip around Sicily, and I want you to experience it as we did, as we were just stepping in. I can't believe this place. I mean, the mirror. It's absolutely huge. We are all a little bit speechless right now. I think that it won't be us watching the TV. It will be all of these people watching us. Look at the console.
It's beautiful. And I love the chairs too.
I know everything here. Wonderful.
And the 2 chairs in our bedroom have got still got the auction label on it.
Oh, that sounds very like us. Right. People after our own hearts.
Yes.
Everywhere you look, there's something delightful to see. Philip was in raptures the minute we walked in, not because of the zebra, though that is super cool, but because of the model of the spiral stairs. He's slightly obsessed with these. And also because of this wonderful, almost like little model theatre. I wonder if it was originally to display a relic in a church, or maybe to use as a small altar. Philip and I are having this room, which is amazingly pretty, looking straight onto the courtyard and to the little swimming pool. Let's face it, in November, we're probably not going into that pool, but just look at the courtyard. But I wanted to show you our bathroom, because we have this amazing bath that you just step down into. I am 100% having a bath tonight. I believe our neighbour across the courtyard is Geraldino. Let me show you his room. This is perfection. The shower is just tucked around the corner there. Gerald has already moved in, and I just want to show you his wardrobe because it is all tartan. It's Scott Mann's wardrobe. There you go. Glimpse into his inner world. You saw it here first.
And my bonnet is always ready, the main accessory. So when I'm ready to fire out there,
that's it.
Scott Mann,
bonnet on.
Up and away. Not all superheroes wear capes.
And this is Mummy and Percy's room. I can see Mummy lying there. Every room is perfection. In the last places that we've been staying in Sicily, someone always had to compromise with one of the bedrooms because there was always at least one that was a bit weaker than the others. I mean, not here. Everything is spectacular.
Done so beautifully.
So perfectly.
Like I could move it.
Yeah, I think we all could. We're all like, yep, very much feels at home. Right. I will show you the terrace. Imagine being here in summer and in the cooler evenings having wonderful long dinners here. Look at the amount of chairs there are. I think they're ready for big parties here. They have these gorgeous stone benches built into the side of the palazzo. And I am so tempted to light these candelabra one night. This rental is through the Thinking Traveller. I'm going to put all of the details below, and they very kindly did a special deal for us because we could only stay for a few nights, smaller than the usual rental that they do. But it's not because we're staying in paradise that the chores stop. Mummy's just come up from the laundry room. This is the final wash of the holiday. Would you like to lie down, Mummy? The theatrics are marvellous. Mummy was coming up from the laundry room that's downstairs, and there's something else downstairs that is extra special. I will show you. The little laundry room is tucked away around here. So that's where Mummy was. But that's not the bit I wanted to show you. That is just through this door here. Boom. I bet you weren't expecting that in the basement. There's an entire self-contained flat down here. As you can see, the bed isn't made, and that's because you can rent this either as a 3-bed or a 4-bed, and we just rented the rooms upstairs. This would usually be locked, but because I'm filming for all of you, they've opened it up so that you can see it all. It's absolutely spectacular. And again, every surface feels like a little world, a little work of art. Now that I've shown you all of this, I'm actually going to run upstairs because we are going out. We are going to go and visit the ancient city of Syracuse. We've come into Ortigia, which is the tiny island that is the historic heart of the town of Syracuse. It's one of the most important towns in the Greek age. This is the place that Archimedes came from. This is a town that Plato was once imprisoned in and had to be rescued by his friends. It is laden with history, and there is no better building in Syracuse to see the layering of history like that than the cathedral. Welcome to one of the most extraordinary churches in the entire world. I don't think that I've ever been so moved by a church. Stepping in here, stepping into layers of history so rich that it hits you like a wave as you come in. It's incredibly moving. You feel a connection to people who lived not only centuries ago, but millennia ago. Because if you look in the walls, you can clearly see huge Greek columns. These are the original columns of the Temple of Athena. They're 2,500 years old and they haven't been moved. We are standing inside a 2,500-year-old building that is still in use today. Here you can even see the steps up to the temple, the plinth on which the temple was raised in Grecian times. The pediment of the temple was covered in sheets of gold and ivory so that it would glint in the sun, and sailors arriving by sea far, far out would be able to see the glinting top of the Temple of Athena and know that they were on the right path. It was built in the 5th century BC, and 800 or so years later, in the 8th century, when the Byzantines arrived, they didn't want to destroy this extraordinary temple, which had been such a symbol of Syracuse. Instead, they turned it into a church, and they did that simply by bricking up the spaces in between the columns and adding these huge, heavy columns on the interior, the square ones, to support the weight of the roof that they were adding. So even the new columns in the interior date from the year 800. They're nearly 1,500 years old. And the history of this church didn't stop then. When the Arabs invaded, they turned it into a mosque. And it was only when the Normans arrived in the 11th century that they turned it back into a church and made it the cathedral that it is today. And the mosaics that you see date from the time of the Norman cathedral. And in the baptistry, again, you can see those layers of history, because this is a very old Greek jar that they reused in the 13th century when they added the lions. So it was in no way a Christian baptismal font. They used something old and turned it into a Christian baptismal font. The spectacular marble floor dates from the 12th century. The wooden ceiling from the 15th century. Layers upon layers of history. So this has been a place of worship for 3 different religions. It was a place to worship Athena, the goddess of wisdom in Greek mythology. It's been a Christian church twice, and it's been an Islamic mosque. But above all, it's been the centre of Syracuse for all that time, and it stands as a symbol of the checkered past that Sicily's had, with so many invaders, so many different religions, and the way that it just keeps moving forward and reinventing itself as it needs to. I am absolutely blown away by this place. I can't believe it. Mummy is in heaven. She's in raptures. If you ever come to Sicily, I absolutely recommend coming to the Cathedral of Syracuse. I would just like to apologise to anyone who visited the cathedral on the same day as us. If you asked the helper sitting at the desk for any information, he will have answered you most helpfully, I suspect, not very accurately.
He has already helped 2 visitors.
Oh no, I can't believe it. I'm too embarrassed. We've got to leave. No, we've got to go. Get away from that desk. Come on, we're going.
Well, when we came in, she says, St. Lucia statue. She says, it's over there.
Well, you got that right. Actually, that was pure luck, but you got it right.
I says, well, these pillars here are 2,000. She says, I thought that. And then the man came up to me. Says, where is the statue, Ballroom? I says, I don't know if it's in here at the moment, but we're waiting for it to come.
I don't believe it, Gerald.
It imbibes you with spirituality. When you consider thousands of years people have worshipped on that site.
It is unbelievable. I think my favourite thing we've seen so far in Sicily.
Yes.
And that is a tall order, because Sicily has been extraordinary so far. And stepping out of the cathedral, I would say, suddenly you're in the modern world. but you're really not. You're in the Baroque, because Ortigia was flattened by an earthquake in the 1690s, and it was rebuilt in splendid Baroque style, just in the same way that Noto was. And now that we're back outside, I just want to go around to the side of the cathedral, because you can see the Greek temple from the exterior as well. In between the Byzantine brick walls, there they are again, the other halves of the huge Grecian columns. Just awe-inspiring. But with all this history, we've built up quite an appetite, so we're going to go and find somewhere lovely to sit down for lunch. And on the way, we are just going to thoroughly enjoy looking at all of these magnificent buildings. Cheers, all. Cheers. And we've chosen this restaurant not just for the lovely view of the sea, but for something even more precious just next to it. Well, Mummy wanted a little simple soup. Worked out a bit bigger than you planned for there, didn't it, Mummy?
I didn't want to see eyes looking at me.
No, that's always my issue.
But the thing is, Stephanie, she's on a seafood diet. She sees food, she eats it.
No, that's the diet I'm on. I'm excited by mine because I've gone for the stuffed squid. It's stuffed with shrimps and lemon and breadcrumbs, pine nuts, parsley, lots of delicious things. We all said no to dessert, and in fact, they brought us little biscuits and limoncello.
Stephanie, it looks like something we used to get at science class at school.
Yes, it does.
Doesn't it? Okay, now put it on the Bunsen burner.
Just next to the restaurant, this is the Spring of Aretusa, and as you can see, it's right next to the sea. And what makes this seem miraculous is that it is a freshwater spring, and it was already known as a sacred place before the founding of the city of Syracuse, when the Carthaginians arrived. And this is partly the reason why they chose this spot, because it seemed miraculous that on an island surrounded by salt water, there would be a freshwater spring. So of course, it gave rise to a myth. And the myth is that Aretusa was a nymph in Arcadia. And one day she was seen by the god Alpheus, who fell madly in love with her and wanted her very desperately. Now, as in many Greek myths, she wasn't into this, and apparently she couldn't just say no. She had to run. So she ran and she ran all across Greece. And one day the goddess Artemis took pity on her, and she turned her into a freshwater spring so that she could make her escape. She plunged underground, resurfaced here, and here she is still, the freshwater supply on the island of Ortigia. Even Cicero, when he visited Ortigia, marvelled at the beauty of this spring. And you see, right in plain sight, what the most extraordinary thing is about this spring. And no, it's not the one-winged duck doing a lovely little pirouette. It's the papyrus. This is one of the only places in Europe that papyrus grows. It's thought that it probably arrived from Egypt in one of the ships coming along the ancient trade routes and just took root here. And papyrus has been growing here ever since, which added to that myth that it must have been the goddess Aretusa who came from so far away, bringing these exotic plants with her. He's still doing his little pirouette down there. I must say there's a certain elegance to it. Noto, here we come. This is the last day of our holiday, and this is the reason why Advent is upon us. Wow, that is the way to put lights up on a tree. We're going to be heading back to France for the start of Advent, and Mummy and Percy are going to be going back to South Africa. We're going to miss them so much.
La 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 la.
The very last thing we're going to be doing on our holiday is visiting a palazzo here called the Palazzo Nicolaci, and I'm so excited to see inside. Before we go in, I want to show you just the underside of the balconies. In fact, the underside of all of the balconies in Noto are beautiful. But when I say beautiful, I mean lovely scrolls like this. But here, they're almost like mermaids. Aren't they extraordinary? And that's just the first balcony. The second one is prancing, and there's no other word for it, prancing lions. The third is both grotesques at the base and normal faces at the top, except for a lion in the middle. They're fascinating. You want to know more about the symbolism behind them. So imagine if this is the outside. What are we going to find inside? Oh, this feels lovely. This ragged band of travellers appears to have the entire palazzo to themselves. What I love more than anything is imagining myself back in time and thinking of how these rooms would have been used. Oh, look at this yellow. Oh, Philip's going to love all these chandeliers, whilst I'm absolutely obsessed with the wallpaper. And I'll tell you what, they have a much nicer display cabinet than us, though I think Philip's porcelain would win any day.
It's booths.
You're joking. It's the same company that Tatinette and Michael Petherick collect.
Yes.
They have the willow pattern, Booth's willow pattern.
It's the
Beautiful.
amazing trellising in brown and gold.
For any of you who have watched The Leopard on Netflix, you'll recognise having those under curtains, the lovely embroidered transparent curtains that they always have underneath the top layer. They're so pretty. It's very romantic. I think most of the time whilst watching The Leopard, you were talking about those voile curtains.
We need them with the house. I mean, they're so practical and they're so beautiful.
Why are they practical, darling? What are they practical for?
Well, because if you've got brown furniture, you don't want to get this, this colour. And I think it's also, at the time, probably, like the whole pale complexion was very
And also modesty for people not to be able to look in from outside.
That too. But even in a palace, whatever, no one else outside,
Yes.
they had them. So it's probably not the reason, modesty.
Oh, Percy, you must be itching to play.
If I had a couple of years, you could have had a good game.
Yep, he's still got it. But forget the billiard table. Look at the floor. I have never seen tiles that do this. They're actually making a huge chevron-style pattern going across the entire room. From the billiard room, we can see all the way down the enfilade. So let's go through the glorious yellow room and see what lies beyond. Oh, the ceiling. Oh, that is spectacular. I must say, Sicilians do a great ceiling. Oh, this is the ballroom. But however beautiful the ceiling, the thing that I love most in this room is the wallpaper. It is a joy with that drapery going all the way around. Actually, I was wrong when I walked in. I thought this was a wallpaper, but in fact it's a fresco and it is so beautifully done. And again, the curtains and the lace is so delicate on it.
I've never seen it like this. Look, normally you've got internal shutters hanging in the paneling.
Yes.
And then you open it this way.
They go onto the window.
The window.
Yes.
These, however, are entirely separate doors.
So they shut it off at the beginning of the window reveal. I think that would probably help with heating, actually.
Probably because you get an air gap.
What a view from the balcony up here. So you can imagine dancing away in that ballroom and then stepping out in the evening. And on a summer's night, you would see the stars in the sky. Must have been just magical.
Have you seen the sea there? Just there at the end, you can see that.
Is it really? You're right, it's the coast. Oh my goodness, I didn't realise we were so close.
Isn't that beautiful?
I could have danced all night, I could have danced all night, and still have begged for more. I could have spread my wings and done 1,000 things I've never done before. I'll never know what it's
How are you getting today?